What? The master exclaimed angrily, as if the old man's coffin board had been stolen. Not a single one. The little Taoist wiped his saliva off his face and said, not a single one. This statement came out of his mouth again. Not only his master, but also the more than 300 senior brothers who were surrounded by him were all ashen. The Heavenly Master Mansion has been established for over 1,000 years, with the mission of defeating demons and guarding the way. It is also the benchmark of the 72 righteous paths in the human world. This feeling of shouldering a heavy burden is like every person eagerly anticipating the Heavenly Master Mansion and not letting it go. The 202 coffins hanging on the cliff tombs serve as a warning that if one does not eliminate demons and accumulate merits, their cultivation will not be enough. The moment of impending calamity will be the time of awakening and destruction. Excessive indulgence becomes indulgence, not to mention the master. These 300 senior brothers are also to blame. The youngest junior brother, who was never allowed to endure hardships since childhood, has now found that things have changed somewhat uncontrollably. Although the young Taoist was playful, he understood that it was him who was wrong. His 16 senior brothers told him to stand straight when beaten and to admit his mistakes. He knelt on both knees and kowtowed his head firmly, saying to his master, "My disciple is willing to be dealt with by the rules of the sect. Do you think you managed to escape?" The master stuttered, "Take him to the Do-Do Palace." "Yes." 4 or 5 senior brothers dragged their junior brothers along with the crowd as they drove towards the Do-Do Palace. The Do-Do Palace is located on the top of Xianyan, facing west and east. It rises 5 times and is supported by 9 large columns on the roof, symbolizing the imperial palace of the 9 sovereigns. It is over 200 zhang long and wide, with a height of up to 6 zhang. The palace is adorned with red walls and red gates, double-eaved red pillars, covered with grey glazed tiles, and surrounded by granite guardrails, making it very solemn. Entering the palace on the north side, the complete couplets in the seal script on the left and right read, "Take the Mingshan Sea Cave, don't open the real realm and approach the world." This is where they preach and practice meditation, as well as where they reward and punish. The little Taoist was carried by his senior brothers all the way leisurely, and when he was thrown onto the smooth floor, he was like a dead fish. From a young age, I can see that my senior brothers have been punished. Which one is not beaten to pieces? Now it was my turn to immerse myself in the situation, and the experience of my predecessors was a dead ash on the already fair and tender face of that little Taoist. The master picked up 3 pillars of incense and lit them with magic, then bowed 3 times to the ancestral master. Zhang Daoling, the 6th generation descendant of the Heavenly Master's mansion, has specially invited the ancestral master to use the ruler. The immeasurable Heavenly Master hopes that the great virtue of the ancestral master will bless the lost disciples of the Heavenly Master's mansion to return in time. After saying these words, 13 senior brothers respectfully dragged out the tray, which was covered in a 3-foot-long vermilion black ruler. The whole thing was like a piece of art, but in the eyes of these people, the ruler had been pulled out in agony and pain. The master's wrinkled hand lifted the ruler and came to the side of the little Taoist, shaking and nodding slowly with the ruler hand. The little Taoist looked at the ruler and trembled as he lifted his robe, revealing his right hand and raised his palm to his chest. That right hand is not like the old and wrinkled master, not like each senior brother with calluses left by holding the sword for a long time, only pink and tender. Pop! The ruler made a crisp sound as it pulled towards the palm of his hand. The little Taoist only felt a burning pain spreading to his heart, but the pain was so intense that he gritted his teeth and let out a muffled snort. But this fierce blow was like hitting those senior brothers. Senior brothers who had tried the ruler closed their eyes and clenched their fists, afraid to look at the little junior brother they had spoiled. It was their indulgence that harmed the little junior brother. Pop! What's the use of raising you? Can't exterminate demons. Pop! What's the use of going down the mountain? Cannot eliminate demons. Pop! What's the use of coming back? Nothing achieved. Every time Zhang Daoling was hit, he felt heartbroken. He watched as the child's hand had already been drained of its crimson blood, yet trembled as he held it up and let him beat it. But when he thought of the 202 coffins on the cliff tomb, he dared not feel heartbroken. They are scattered immortals. If we don't accumulate merits by eliminating demons and monsters on behalf of the heavens, then the arrival of the heavenly calamity will be a dead end. If one day he transforms into an immortal, who will teach him? Pop pop pop. The little Taoist, who had been smoking with tears in his eyes for more than a dozen times, screamed out. Ah! The little Taoist curled up with his body, his heart stirring like someone else, and his hand trembling uncontrollably. A mournful scream echoed in the open hall, and some senior brothers who were close to the little Taoist knelt on the ground at this moment, pleading with the master to forget. The little Taoist's heart warmed and he whispered to himself, the little Taoist also has backbone. If you are beaten, stand straight. Breathing his nose, his left hand tightly clasped his right wrist and slowly lifted his hand, saying, Master. Zhang Daoling trembled all over while holding the ruler. This brat didn't even know how to give him a step down. Isn't this forcing him to strangle his beloved disciple? Master, no, it's not good anymore. At this moment, an anxious voice came from outside, and Zhang Daoling breathed a sigh of relief in his heart. It was just the right time. The senior brothers were even more relieved as they looked outside and thought to themselves that it would be best to have something big happen. A stumbling figure rushed in and knelt beside the little Taoist. The little Taoist sucked in his cool breath and couldn't lift his head at all, but by the sound, it was probably his own senior brother of 205. Master, the mountain protection formation has caught a fairy, please make a decision. Fairy? Which fairy within 100 li radius doesn't know the strength of our Heavenly Master Mansion's mountain protection formation? Not to mention approaching, they dare not even climb the Dragon and Tiger Mountains. Yeah, there's such a fairy who doesn't have long eyes? The senior brothers were whispering and discussing. At this moment, the little Taoist was staying there. This Dragon and Tiger Mountain can be considered a nightmare for fairies from 100 miles away. Local monsters dare not approach, except for that foreign little fox. Zhang Daoling squinted his eyes and looked at the young Taoist who had lost his composure. He slowly spoke, bring it up. Yes. In about a moment, senior brother Wu fell to the ground carrying a fairy. The fairy was roughly thrown onto the ground and let out a muffled groan. The soft voice woke the little Taoist up like a bolt from the blue. He restrained his trembling body and turned to take a look. I saw the annoying little fox bound by a demon rope, her whole body pressed against the cold floor, with blood dripping from the corners of her mouth. A pair of fox eyes looked at him in fear and anxiety, and her cold and thin lips and teeth held back their words several times. She wanted to ask for help. The little Taoist looked at her with a dull expression, muttering in his heart, don't let me save you. His mother will be beaten to death by his master. Bold fox demon. How dare you trespass into the Heavenly Master's mansion? Zhang Daoling glared angrily, his fingers clasped together and pointed straight at the fox demon. A small fox under the majestic pressure of the immortal family couldn't breathe. Bold. More than 300 senior brothers were all pointing angrily, and the powerful and shaking little fox spirit was unstable several times, almost returning to its original form. But she stubbornly protected the person she had transformed into. Humph. Zhang Daoling shook his Taoist robe and said coldly, since ancient times, humans and demons have been at odds. Demons feed on human essence, and humans take it their responsibility to eliminate them. Since you brought them to my door today, it's just the right time to test them for my disciple. Even animals can be considered dead. Upon hearing the test, the senior brothers were overjoyed. Finally, their junior brothers did not need to be punished for not eliminating demons, and could become a true heavenly master through this.